Alright guys, I'm recording on my phone. As you can see, a little gym vlog with the other day trader himself, Ija. We're finna get this workout in. And I'll let y'all know on the trades later. Alright guys, this is week 3 of the, trading journey. Obviously it's not week 3, but week 3 of me, with these recaps and holding myself accountable and just certain things that I do. So I really think these are gonna help me long term, so that's why I do them. And just to show y'all what I do on this journey. Also, I didn't record that many clips for the little vlogs I do in the beginning section, so that's why it was only like 1 minute. I was like, I'll just do a quick little gym video. But this channel is mostly for my trade recaps and show y'all what I do, all the stupid things and all the good things that I do, and then so I can hold myself accountable. So going into this day, we had a no news Monday, so I was very hesitant or just wanted to stay off the market. And also, we were at all-time highs, so honestly, only way I'm taking a trade is if it's long and if it's an A+ long. So going into this day, we just straight up and just consolidated. But by then, this time, I was already off the market. So, I mean, if you really did want to take a trade or took something around this level or around this area, I mean, be my guest. But usually I'm 99% sure I'm off the market by then, or I'm already working, because I usually just try to be off the market by 10:30 or 11, just depending. But this day I was just like, I was already off by 10. Nothing looked good. We marked out these areas right here. It was a no trade day. So Tuesday was a trade day, I believe. Going into this day, we took out these. I was pretty bullish, honestly, just because we're at all-time highs. But the trade itself wasn't too bad. It was a solid setup, in my opinion. But things could have been a little bit better. We took out these Asia lows. So I was like, okay, took out the Asia lows. We did a slight SMT, but honestly, maybe the only thing that I could have been a little bit better is wait for this more prominent low to get taken out and make it stronger SMT. But that was all in hindsight now that I'm looking back. But we had this 15-minute intermediate low, so we had this fair value gap. So we had a wick inside this fair value gap. We never closed below this, so very strong area of liquidity that we kept rejecting off of. I was pretty confident into at least we could have gone break even at this 15-minute fair value gap, but realistically, this should have been the TP. Even though it never reached it, it should have been the TP, and then I should have just went break even as soon as we took out this internal high. But I was low-key aiming for the moon. Honestly, if I'm gonna take something crazy like this, we have to have more narrative behind it, like a 1 hour or just something higher time frame. So this is one of the trades that just wasn't good. It was decent, but it needed more, just something more. But even if I did take it, I should have just been more smarter, or when I did take it, I should have been just a little bit smarter about the way I entered into it. But honestly, I still like the entry point. Gosh, I hate when it does this. I always complain about this. Gotta go back. So I was just honestly waiting. We had this 2-minute right here. I honestly wanted to take it off that 2-minute, but it was just terrible. Just like boom, wicket, boom, wicket, boom, wicket, boom, wicket, and then boom, we're right there, and then terrible. This is a black candle. This is like, my colorway. This is a black candle. I didn't like it. It was just very sloppy, like just price action. So honestly, I was just like, I'm gonna wait. So gladly I did wait, or boom, for all I know, if I entered like around right here, I could have gone stopped out right here. So I was like, yeah, that was not a clean entry if I were to take it. So we waited for this next 2-minute inverse. We inversed it. We started doing good. Boom. Honestly, I should have, broke even at this internal high and just aimed at least around this level. But I was aiming for the moon. I should have just been aiming for the clouds. Or just aiming like just reasonable targets. That was kind of dumb on me. So at this point, this would have brought me to a break-even point if I, did what I should have done. But it didn't, and we got stopped out. Sometimes trades do look good, but you just need to realign yourself and just try to improve it and just do things slightly different. But yeah, I could have just maybe taken a trade off of right here. I'd never really bothered checking. We'd probably have an inverse around right here or something, but by then I was already off the charts, and yeah. But Wednesday, can't lie, got a little emotional. This was probably the worst day. I mean, I was still down my normal, 250, but it was just like, man. Okay, we marked out this 1 hour going into pre-market, or around 8 whenever I got on the charts. We had this prominent high right here, which is London high. We also had it right here on ES. We didn't take it out on ES, so I'm just like, okay, I do want to take it, take the trade, but I need to wait on something. So took out those highs, creating an SMT divergence. We had this 15-minute area liquidity. We never closed over it. Even if you see it looks like we closed, no. If you actually go to the 15 itself, we're still good. And then also on ES, this is the 15-minute itself, or ES NQ, my bad. And then ES was also good. So yeah, we also created an internal SMT right here. So this gave me more confidence in the trade. I was really confident. So I did want to take, there was a 1 minute entry, but I missed out on the 1 minute. So, I should have taken it off the 3 minute, or I took it off the 3 minute because there was another entry point. So we had this other inversion fair value gap. So as soon as we inverse this, I think I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just focused on something else and I got distracted. And by the time I looked again, we were right here. So I didn't even hesitate. I just entered. So yes, my fill could have been a lot better on this trade, but it wasn't. So I mean, it was off by good amount of ticks. So whatever. Entered. Was in this trade. Boom, boom, boom. My reasoning for my break even is as soon as we took out this low, I was like, okay, we do have an SMT and we have a lot of liquidity to the left, so for all we know, I can hit break even. But I was in this trade for so long. I was like, man, just hit my break even or stop loss. But I was honestly starting to gain confidence in the upside. So, I ended up getting out of this trade for maybe $100 profit, maybe less, something like that. But man, look. We ended up hitting TP anyway, so that was, my mistake. I should have just stayed in the trade and just wait for it to hit break even or wait for it to hit TP. And honestly, it wasn't even that long. Actually, it did low-key take a little while, 11:30, and I got in at 9. So, an hour and a half trade, but wait, 9. Wait, what time did I enter? Yeah, 9, 10, 11, 2.5 hour trade. My bad, way off. But so at that point, I was up 100, and honestly, I was feeling a little emotional. I was like, man, I really want to take a trade. I want to be up on the day, but trading isn't about that. It's really about being an observer, not a reactor. You can't just react off to certain things and just wanting to take a trade. So at this point, obviously we had an SMT created with these. If you just ignore all this price action later on, we had at the time in that SMT, we had all this liquidity just rejecting, and just I was pretty another mistake on this day, I was after I was in this trade, I decided to FaceTime my friend Elijah, the one that you saw in the first clip, and we're talking about our trades. And honestly, I could see on the screen, I could see in the corner of his eye, of my eye, oh, you're longs. I honestly let his bias determine my bias after I got out this trade. So after this trade, I should have just not taken anything, just been off the charts and just learned to just hit it, let it hit break even, or just let it hit TP or something. But I let his bias determine my bias, and by the time he was in his trade, I was price was around right here, and he took it off some type of inversion on the smaller time frame. I forgot if it was a 1 minute, 30 second, 2 minute, or something like that. But I wanted to take it off of another confluence, so we had a 1 minute tap. So, he had a way better fill. But by the time it hit these internal highs on his trade, he was already break even, so he was safe on the trade. So I can't just let people's trading bias dictate my bias, or I can't even just let people, you know, I can't even be on FaceTime. If like I'm gonna take something, if I'm gonna FaceTime someone or call someone that also day trades, I can't just like, oh, you know, I need to stop trading if I'm just gonna be on the phone with someone, because that's terrible. Don't ever trade with someone on the phone, even though you're not like, oh, I'm not gonna take his trade. I wasn't technically taking his trade, but I was like, oh, I see what he's seeing, like I'm gonna take it, this and that, like that makes sense. But psychologically, like you're just maybe like tricking your brain to like, take it. Maybe, who knows, I probably would have taken it too regardless, but regardless, you shouldn't be doing that. Also, you go on the 2-minute. And also, another thing, it was Wednesday. It was FOMC. After that first trade, I should just be staying off the charts. After the first trade, like I was safe in break even. Whatever happens, happens. I should have just, man, what is wrong with this chart? Why is it taking forever? Okay, there you go. Man, it's annoying. After that trade, let's see. After that trade, I should have just honestly stayed off the charts, like straight up. Just consider we have FOMC at 1, and just, I heard there was some good trades after FOMC, but obviously I was off. But after this inversion on the 2-minute, I was pretty confident in just like taking it, just because whenever I got stopped out, I was like, man, I really should have had it at the internal, the swing low. So it still looks good. My brain was just playing all sorts of tricks on me, and just like trying to like fit the bias and force to trade in a sense. After we inversed this 2-minute, I re-entered, but I got stopped out right after, and I was like, what did I do wrong? So I started flipping between time frames, and I was like, man, we still got a 3, 4, 5 minute that we still like would have had to like inverse to even just try to take this. So that was my mistake. Like, this looked good to just inverse, but if you like flip to the 3-minute, the 3 minutes like is still like, we're still on the body on the 3-minute. So honestly, I'm kind of glad I lost on this trade. So if we like kind of went up, I would have like honestly not learned anything. Like, I need to wait on like the highest like leg fair value gap to get inverse, whether it be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute. So that was my mistake. So I honestly, this was a good trade. I like this trade. Just needed a better fill on it. That's it. This was a terrible trade. I hated it. And if I was gonna take it, I should have just gotten way better fill, and as soon as we hit an internal high or something, went break even, and just stayed safe in the trade. Considering FOMC, look at all this, like look at all this, man. But Thursday was a good day. We love Thursday. Thursday was, as you could see, no black candles, just straight green, even on the 1-minute. So going into this day, I was pretty bullish, considering all-time high days, bullish until proven wrong. So we took out these lows right here, all these prominent lows. This Asia low, this London low. NQ didn't take it out. So for me, it's just whatever has the better entry, in my opinion, or just for me, because everyone's different. That's what I'm going to take. So going into this day, we had a lot of 15s. We have an unfilled 1 hour. I'm just going to flip to it just so I can show y'all. Okay. Gosh. Man. Okay. So we didn't technically have unfilled. I lied. We had this intermediate low inside this 1 hour gap, and then also I believe we did have a 15. We had a 15. Just start doing it like that, 15. And that's a lot faster. That's how my friend does it. I need to start doing it like that. But anyways, we had a bunch of built up liquidity. Okay, no, unfilled liquidity. My bad. Right here, unfilled gaps. And then also we had an intermediate low inside of 1 hour. So I was pretty confident in this trade. SMT session low got taken out. That falls under a bunch of it's just a straight up good trade. So at the time, I was looking for longs, you know. I believe there's a 3-minute inversion. Let me check. Yes, that's what it was. At the time, there was a 3-minute inversion, and honestly, this would have been, for me, I would have not liked this fill. I hated this fill. I was like, man, this would be, I mean, yes, you can target something, but I'd rather just either not take a trade or get a good fill on the trade and be able to risk a little bit more contracts just because I'm, having to put it at the body of this, this candle. And now this is, as soon as I saw this, I was like, we have a 3-minute fair value gap now created. Let me scale down to the 1 minute, see if we can get a good tap after, because what gave me more confidence was the actual inversion, but I wanted to get better entry on it. So, as soon as we went down to these levels, we had this 1 minute fair value gap. As soon as we got a good, rejection off this fair value gap, I was pretty confident in it. I was like, all right, we do have this inverse. We have these relative equal highs. We haven't even taken out these highs, so I'm pretty confident in it. As soon as we take out these highs, I'm going break even on the trade, so I'm safe. So this is an A+ setup in my opinion. As soon as that happens, break even, boom. I'm in this trade for 10 minutes, 10-minute trade. I could have honestly aimed higher, but the reason for my TP, we had this 1 hour imbalance right here, and I was honestly just targeting exactly the 1 hour of this area. I could have honestly aimed a little bit higher because we did have another 15-minute fair value gap zone around here. I could have aimed for the highest at least, but regardless, still a 1-2. Pretty good trade in my opinion. So yeah, this was the best day. This was my only win on the week. Could have been 2 wins if I capitalized on Friday. I was, too zoomed out, if that makes any sense. So going into this day, I marked out the things that could have been trades too. So I didn't take anything on Friday. Better to take nothing than be unsure in entering in a trade, honestly. So going into Friday, we have this unfilled 15. If you see this white line, that's the beginning of the 15-minute fair value gap. If you see a box, that means, this is for me, that means, this is an area that's already been tapped into, but it's still a prominent area. It's a 1 hour fair value gap, and we have a, intermediate low inside a 1 hour fair value gap. So I wanted these areas to get hit. So obviously during market open, none of this area got hit until obviously later on. But my friends and a bunch of other people took this, and honestly, it was a good trade. I should have seen it. We had, let's see, let's go to the 1 hour first. We had this, I was targeting this. We had this already one unfilled 1 hour that we tapped into it during market. So ES, we tapped into it during, market open of ES. But NQ didn't have it, but, what it does on one pair, it does on the other. So that could have given you more confidence on your trade. But it wasn't just the 1 hour. We also had a bunch of unfilled 15s, or just one unfilled 15. That would have given you a lot of confidence too. This unfilled 15, and then the fact that we're just close to all-time highs. What I've learned is usually a lot of times during all-time highs, we don't just have these big retraces. We're already so close to all-time highs. Like the narrative is like set. Like we're just inversing this, like just constantly going up. Just honestly, like for all we know, we could just shoot up. But you need that narrative. We have that 1 hour, we have that 15 built up, and you need to find a micro entry to see if the trade can, just run without you. So we had that 15. If you go to the 5 as well, we had this other smaller SMT that could have given you a lot more confidence, and all these unfilled 5s that you could have taken it off of. Or you could have just waited for this inversion, this 5-minute inversion. That's what my friend did. He told me he took it off the 5-minute inverse. ES looked sloppier, so NQ was definitely like the better trade. Just also, gave you the better RR, and also like it actually went to the intended levels. So ES or NQ would is for sure is the better trade, So, but for me, I wouldn't have liked to entered right here just because this would have been I mean, honestly, it still could have been valid, but honestly, I would have liked a little bit better entry. So if you scale down to the 1 minute, I would have liked to see like, okay, what are other areas we can tap into and just get a slightly better feel. So we had this 1 minute fair value. Yeah, we never closed below it, so this is a pretty strong area. I was like, okay, if I realistically would have gotten into this trade, I would have gotten it after we got a good slight rejection. So this would have been a lot better fill. Instead of like 30 points, it would have been 24 points. And we had these unfilled, or no, these relative equal highs that we can potentially, go for. So what would have gave me confidence in this trade is the fact that this wick never took out this high. So yeah. Also, we've like marked out an unfilled 15 right here, but it has to be an A+ setup for me to take a short, especially on an alt. It has to be really good setup for me to take a short on an all-time high day. But anyways, you could have taken off right there and targeted all-time highs, and that would have been a really good trade. Also, another really good trade is just later in the day. We had the areas that I wanted to get hit. They ended up getting hit. I honestly just got off the charts by 10. I could have just stayed a little longer. I should have stayed, but it's all good. I got off the charts just because I was just like, we already took out all-time highs. For all we know, we could just, after we took out all-time highs, we can dump even lower past these areas. But I should have just stayed on just to see, what price could have done. But it's all good. We didn't take it, and, that happens sometimes. So going into this day, we had a bunch of, going into this trade that you could have taken. We had this unfilled 15, the beginning of it. We had this 1 hour, obviously. We got tapped into on ES. SMT, that's clear as day. We had this inversion, not as clean as ES, honestly, or as NQ. We had a clean inversion on NQ. And yeah, we had a pretty clean inversion. I'm pretty sure we had like not an unfilled. We already have a filled 15 with an intermediate low around this area. But this was the lower index. This was the higher one. It's just honestly depending on how you trade, which one had the better entry. A lot of times I like to take the one that's lower, but if this has a cleaner entry point, then I would like to take the cleaner entry point. So we have that 1 minute inversion. So just because if you're not like really used to like trading this late into the day, you want to stay safe on the trade. So you could have entered right here with a, you want to go a little lower, 20 point, or like just have it at the wick of the candle. That's fine. It's really up to you. Or you could have it at the body. It's just all depending up to you if you really want a tight stop loss or a bigger stop loss to be safe. As soon as we took out this internal high, or just this, this wick high, you could have gone break even if you were just like, honestly, I don't really trade this late into the day. Let me stay safe. And we can target like either all-time highs again or just these highs again. And yeah, that was that trade. So honestly, it was been my best week. I just need to tweak a couple things, be strict on my setups, and just stay disciplined, honestly, because I'm not too bad. Only down $30 on the week. On the first week, I was down like 1,000 because I had 4 losing days. So it's a slow progress. Just fixing these minor mistakes that just, I know how to trade. I know why the market moves, but sometimes, I need to like just sit back and just study it and just, also that's why I like get on call with my friend and we pick each other's brain and just see why we took certain trades and just be straight up honest with each other. Like, was that a bad trade? Like, why did you take that? Or we just call each other out like, hey, that was a sloppy entry or that was a bad fill. Like, why are you taking that setup? Like, that's like that it's not your model or, So overall, just not the worst week or not the best week. It was a, break even week, down $30. If you're like down 30 or up 30, that's like kind of like in that break even area, but still down on the week slightly. But honestly, very glad for my patience on Monday and not taking anything. Kind of a little disappointed on that Wednesday whenever I was re-entering later in the day on the other pair. And then Tuesday, just minor mistakes that I could have just waited on a better setup. But Thursday, good trade. Friday, could have taken some trades, but better to take something that you're sure of than you're unsure of. So just need to focus on the internal price action instead of just always being focused on like these levels to get hit. Like I needed to see, all right, we have our other 1 hour unfill. We have a 15s that we could just potentially run up. Let's see if we can find something else to, inverse or just take the trade off of. But that was that, honestly, and yeah. So that was the trade recap. Today is Saturday morning. I'm just gonna go on about my day and probably study a little bit more later. And yeah, I'll catch y'all later.